Okay, peeps, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the Bitcoin miner stocks. We're also going to go over a number of different dividend ETFs that recently announced their dividends, and we're going to go over the channel memberships one more time. So with that being said, let's get it. Also one other thing, we're also going to go over Tesla as kind of a quick snippet, so to speak. So before we get into the miners, let's first get into channel memberships. I want to get this out of the way real quick. So we've been seeing a lot of complaints that you guys are, basically complaining about, oh, it's going to cost us $25 a month, to get an answer or this or that. I don't know what you guys are trying to get at here, but let's be clear about something, okay? It's a collaboration that we have to work with directly with YouTube to be able to offer this to you guys, snap of a finger whenever you want it, okay? $25 a month for something like this to get access to the information you guys need whenever you want it available. Literally split second, no different than Netflix or Amazon Prime or anything like that. $25 a month is not really that expensive, okay? The most expensive channel membership option they have is $500 a month, believe it or not, and the cheapest is 99 cents a month. We're not going to charge you 99 cents a month because we believe in getting something out of it. But it's optional. You guys didn't have to sign up for it. If you don't want to sign up for it, then don't sign up for it. It's your choice. We're not gonna ask you to do it. We're not gonna force you to do it. The reason why we even offer that option in the first place is as a convenience to you guys, but clearly you don't appreciate it, so we're simply not going to do it. And the other thing is we don't really need the money. Okay, we don't need the $25 a month. It's not that big of a deal to us. We can easily go trade any given stock and make that in a single day or many times over in a single day or a single week. Okay. The money is just not really that important to us. We don't need your $25 a month. Okay. It was something we were trying to do for you guys. And how many people go spend $2,000 on a stupid phone they don't need, or, $20 a month on a membership for Netflix that does nothing to add any value to their life. So I'm not going to talk about this anymore. This is the last time we're going to discuss it. And if we see any comments that, are toxic or negative on this channel, we're going to ban you from the channel. Okay. We're not going to tolerate that. Your comment will be deleted and you will be out of here. You will not be allowed to comment. So, next thing I'm going to go over is these are actual trading services. These are people that actually do this for a living. Okay. By providing the $25 a month, you guys would be giving us a little bit more boost to get us to a point where we could do this full time for you and literally upload stuff whenever you need it, multiple times a day, maybe even do some live streams and other stuff like that. But clearly you guys don't want it, so not a big deal. We're still headed in that direction to working full time outside of our jobs anyways, so it doesn't matter. So the point I want to make here is you guys can see that this is a trading alert service. It is kind of similar to what we do, except we don't give you our exact trades, to the second, so to speak. Like, we're not sending text messages to you guys like, hey, we're going to make a trade right now. Here it is. Here's the parameters, blah, blah, blah. So you guys can see that they have pretty good records. They have outperformed the S&P massively. So anyways, these guys, and just so you guys know, we've made, I think, a little bit north of about 30K in the last 5 months. So we're right along with these guys. We are pretty much outperforming the markets at this point, although we're not showing a percent comparison. You can be pretty sure that we are. So as you guys can see, they charge roughly about $147 a month. Even if we go with the cheapest option, you're talking $787 divided by 12. Still going to be more than what we charge, which, again, we were trying to make it affordable for everybody. We think that most people can afford $25 a month. And if you can't afford $25 a month, you don't have to pay for it again, but what are you doing in finance? That's my question. So you guys can see these guys charge, this is Seeking Alpha. A lot of investors use this. Believe it or not, tons of investors use this. We don't, but a lot of people do. So you have an option for $99 a month, or, right here, basically you'd be looking at about $20 a month on the yearly service. Here's another one. This is Zip Trader U. So you guys can see that they have basically a program you can buy for $500. We can tell you guys right now, we spent about $3,000 on a financial service recently that we're not going to talk about that we intend to use, but really $25 a month is nothing. So we don't really care. If we had put it into effect, we wouldn't have cared one way or another whether you chose to sign up or not. That's your choice. So again, you have another option here. So this option would have been about like 30, $40 a month and $49 a month. Again, another trade alert service still more expensive than what we were offering. And you guys don't actually get to, hear from somebody personally. Like these are just emails. So anyways, let's get into the distributions here. So actually we're going to start with FEPI. So FEPI was $1.09 for this month, as you guys can see right here. So here's the X date, 23rd, which was basically yesterday. $1.09 is still pretty good. It's still pretty consistent. So TSLP, you guys can see here it's 42 cents. So that's pretty good. Again, the ex-dividend date is today. So if you missed out, before today, you basically have another month to get in. These are all monthly, by the way. So, right. Let's go over the other ones first. I forgot about that. So AMZP, you can see it here, 30 cents a month. And I can already hear it now. A lot of you guys are probably going to be like, oh man, but they're paying less this month than they did last month. Guys, we haven't had a market downturn in 6 months. Okay. The reason they're paying less is because the market's going down. Simple math. All right. When the markets go back up, they're probably going to pay more. But again, the markets have been going straight up for like 6 months. So is it really surprising? Probably not. So 22 cents here, you guys can see ex-dividend date. And this is on, let's see, what is this? This is the Apple ETF. So we'll go to the next one here, Google. You get 29 cents, so slight increase. Again, this is on the 24th of this month. If you missed it, you have another month. The next X date is on 5/22, and that's the same for all of these. So now we'll go over the Microsoft one. This is going to be a little bit less because Microsoft's not really that volatile, so 27 cents. Again, this is April 24th, as you guys can see here. This is the Netflix one. We only actually own TSLP. We don't own any of these other ones, just so y'all know. So 43 cents here, and the X date is the 24th. Now we'll go over to the Roundhill one. This is, so we're going to do QDTE and XDTE. So QDTE, again, that's today, 33 cents per share for the 24th. This is actually a weekly dividend paying ETF. It's not monthly like the rest of them. It's on a week by week basis. So we got XDTE here. So we'll go over this one real quick. You guys can see it's actually a huge increase. So 37 cents for the week, again, on the 24th. You have, of course, if you missed it this time, you have till the 1st to get back in. So that's on XDTE. I'm actually quite surprised that it was such a big increase. And we have not gone over these ones before, but we're going to do SPYI and QQQI. So 48 cents, 24th. Again, if you missed out, you have until the 22nd of next month. And these are actually ones that we're considering buying not too far off in the future, is these NEOS, NASDAQ, and S&P 500. Not sure what they are, but these dividend paying ETFs on a monthly basis. So, of course, the NASDAQ's going to pay more. It's more volatile. That makes sense. So 58 cents. And again, the X date is today. So if you missed it, you'll be able to get it next month. And had a slight decrease month over month in the dividend. But again, I mean, you guys got to remember, we haven't had a pullback in markets in essentially like 6 months since October of last year. So that really shouldn't come as a surprise. So now let's get into Tesla. So there's a few things we wanted to bring up for Tesla and Tesla specifically, because again, we have over 5 figures invested in Tesla. Again, that's like the dividend paying version of Tesla, or also TSLP. So Tesla notifies thousands in Texas and California of impending layoffs. Again, these are jobs that pay extremely well. They create the Teslas that people drive around in public. I don't want to get too deep into this. You guys can read this for yourselves. We'll leave it in the description for you. But basically, this could be on Wall Street, this could be considered to be bullish. Reason being is because if the company is not making as much money and they're cutting costs, what that essentially means is that they're stemming their losses. So if they basically if the amount of revenue they're making is growing, then it makes sense to hire more people, right? But if the amount of revenue that they're making is shrinking, then it makes sense to cut back on some of the costs. So um, if Tesla was not making as much money and they were cutting the cost of their vehicles and then they were not cutting jobs and or hiring more people, that would be concerning to people on Wall Street or people that are in finance period, and they'd be wanting to sell the stock. But between this, which is considered to be bullish for markets, and also we're going to go over Tesla right now, so TSLA. And I wanted to show you guys this. This is the perfect time for Tesla to have a massive bounce. So we are technical analysts, okay? We're not just investors. We do also trade as well. So, and we also are in options, crypto stocks, and dividend paying stocks. And we also study macroeconomics. But as you guys can see here, this is a multi-year trend line, and it has strong bounce off of that. And of course, the earnings came out recently, but there was also the news of the layoffs, and there was some news about Tesla still owning all of their Bitcoin holdings or something like that. I'm not sure, but we expected this trend line to hold. It did hold. So basically, the point of all this is that all of the technicals and the news line up perfectly for Tesla to have a squeeze to the upside. Okay, whether it goes up long term or not. As in it breaks this trend line down here and shoots back up to like $400 or $500 a share. Well, that remains to be seen. We don't yet know if that's going to happen or not. So now we're going to get into our personal holdings, and then we're going to talk about the miners. So I know it took us a while to get to the miners, but again, there's a lot of other stuff we wanted to cover. So we're kind of throwing it all into one video here. So this morning, we actually added some shares to Tesla. As you guys can see, before we had 25, now we have 29 shares. Of course, it makes perfect sense to buy now because, again, we are at a macro support. It's like a 5-year support line. So we added a lot of shares of BTBT. Okay, and you guys can see we have some more shares of TSLP here. So we added to both Tesla and TSLP, but I want to go ahead and focus on BTBT. So BTBT has earnings tomorrow. A lot of these miners have earnings over the next 30 days, but you guys can see we have added a lot of shares here. So I think this is probably not even everything, but we've added nearly 600 shares to this position. So we have a total of about 1,400 shares at our cost basis, you guys can see here. But we'll just give you guys an example of kind of what we're expecting here, what we're looking at. So that's the total amount initially invested. If we just get a 2x, you guys can see the move there. If we get a 10x, you guys can see the move here. So this is kind of what we're looking at. Now, if we just go based on the 600 shares that we just bought, not including the ones that we have in options currently, you guys can see that a 2x on this would still be pretty massive. And again, a 10x would be even bigger. So would we be comfortable? Could we live with this number right here? Absolutely, we could. So we are very much expecting this BTBT to go up tomorrow. And even if it doesn't, the Bitcoin bull run is still on. So we're perfectly positioned at this point to take advantage of it. All right, so CLSK support 1230 to 1370, resistance 2120 to 2360 or so, and then roughly about $25 is going to be your peak there. A lot of the Mag 7 earnings are coming out tomorrow. Today's trading session was pretty boring and mundane. Not a lot happening outside of the first hour of trading. So my guess is the markets are really going to start to move tomorrow. But, because earnings season is coming up, and over like the next month or so, all of the Mag 7 companies, or almost all of them, are going to report earnings. And when that happens, we expect a big move, either up or down in the markets. So 64%, 80%, and 90% respectively is what you'd be looking at on CLSK. Mara, so again, this is resistance still. So you're looking at 1810 to about $20 or so. I would say this thing probably bottoms out somewhere around $10, $11 on that trend line there. But the support, if you want to know it, is between $7 to about $12 or so. So the move back up to this resistance from the trend line would be about 90%. Again, I would not be buying Mara when it's sitting at this resistance right here like that, but that's just my opinion. I mean, it could break out and go up higher to this zone up here, which again is 29 to about $33. So Riot, this one's a little bit cheaper. I would say this is probably a better buy than Mara. Of course, that's just my opinion. So 750 to about 1030 is support. Resistance is 1860 to about 20-ish dollars. It's about 21 bucks there. So from support, assuming you wanted to buy it anywhere in there, you'd be looking at roughly about 96% to about 123%. Of course, it would be much larger if you got perfectly down here at the bottom, but nobody's ever perfect in trading. So we kind of just give you guys an estimate of kind of a rough area of where maybe you might be able to get your cost basis. So again, falling wedge, if it breaks out of this and heads higher, the target is the top of the wedge. So basically at the top of this resistance at about 23 bucks. Current support is $4 to about $9. Resistance 1750 to about 22 and a half. So again, this is a much better buy than Mara. Main reason being because HUD 8 is sitting right at the top of that support zone. So the move up would be about 95% to roughly about 151% respectively. Okay, so BTBT, it did bounce off of this support down here. As we told you guys before, we didn't think it was really going to go much lower than these candle bodies here, and that turns out to be true. So it did kind of have a fake out wick here, but then it went back up on the weekly basis. So we are still holding this roughly about $2 level. So 150 to 2 bucks is going to be about support. 420 to 480 is going to be resistance, and then the wick high up there is 530 on the resistance. So even from the current price to the resistance, you're looking at about 86 to about 113%, and then all the way up to 133% respectively. But if you wanted to wait for it to get back down into support, which again, at this point, I don't think it's going to do it, 134% to 165%, and then as much as 191%. So Cypher, again, similar to Mara, I'd wait for this one to come down. I wouldn't buy it at these levels, but that's just my opinion. So it could always go higher. It could go up to $80, $100. Nobody really knows, but based on technicals, it just doesn't make sense to buy up here. If I was going to do anything, I would probably do a sell put on this. I'd probably do a cash secured put with the expectation this thing's just going to push into resistance. And by the time my contract expires, it'll expire worthless, and we will not have to take the shares. So 215 to about 270 on support, $5 to 550 on resistance, and then 575 or so on the wick high up there. So from the support to the resistance, about 109 to 132%, and then 147% respectively. So BITF, again, this is looking a little janky here, but I would say that this trend line here, which is a long-term trend line, is probably likely to hold. So that's currently at about $1.35. So resistance currently is $2 to $2.32, and support, which I do not think it's going to go back down to, is roughly about 40 cents to 90 cents. So from that trend line, just to get back up to the previous resistance, you're looking at roughly about 50% to as high as roughly about 75%. So again, on the earnings, CLSK is coming up soon. So you got May 8th here. These are just something for you guys to jot down or to come back and check up on and see how the price reacts to the earnings. How you guys want to do that, that's up to you. So May 8th for Mara. So these are pretty much just right around the corner. It seems like a lot of these are next month. So Riot, again, May 8th. So these are pretty much all next month in a couple of weeks. HUD 8, this one's not going to be for a while. As you guys can see here, it's all the way over in September. So it's going to be a long while before we get one on this. BTBT, this is tomorrow. Yeah, so tomorrow they're going to have earnings. Cypher, this one's a little bit later. Again, similar to these other three back here, pretty much about the same time. BITF, this one is also a little bit later, although not exactly at the same time as the others, roughly about a week later. And a lot of these miners are actually kind of diversifying their income. They're implementing AI and stuff like that to kind of offset the cost of the increase of the mining difficulty after the halving. If you guys want to look that up, that's complicated stuff. Do it in your own time. But we're just telling you that we think that's very bullish for these Bitcoin miners. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe. and we'll see y'all later. Peace.